Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome into this edition of Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game, and it's Thursday, October 26th. I'm back for now. As you can tell with my voice, still not 100% at all, but we're fighting through. Kudos to Philip Pilkington and Scott Rogers for filling in yesterday. I'm going to try to make it through the next hour, and we are moving up. Our usual Friday show, we have Joey Football, Joe Sampson, with us every Friday. We make our game picks against the spread. We will do that today because Joe's got some family stuff he's got to deal with in a good way. Tomorrow his family's in town. So, Joey Football, thanks for being back so soon. And thanks for coming on because I know you like to talk. And right now I don't really want to talk all that much. My voice could go kaput at any second, but welcome back.
This is the Stephen Igo flu game. I want everybody to know at home, this is what true mental toughness looks like. We used to always talk about in the program, you got to be tougher than the entire environment around you. That's what Igo is doing for us today. He's locking it in and making sure to deliver the content everybody's looking for.
I'm trying my best. By the way, I like that pen in your hand. It makes you look very sophisticated.
It's a Patrick Johnson trick. He used to always tell me when we were doing our one game on Friday Night Rivals, he's like, you have a pen in your hand for some reason. It always just feels more authentic.
It does. So, good look. And
there you go.
Yeah, good look. Philip Pilkington, he is producing back in the studio. I am at home. And there we go. We got the triple box if you're watching our stream. It is it's a lot of faces in a small amount of space, and I don't know. We're all different colors because of different lighting, so we got to figure that out. Yeah. But Philip, how did yesterday go, man? I listened to most of the show. You guys did well.
I appreciate it. Thanks for letting us guest host. I thought it went well. We enjoyed it. We had a lot of great participation from the listeners, so it kind of made our job easy. We actually were going to talk a little World Series. Didn't have any time to get to it because of all the comments we had to get to. So thank you to the fans for still tuning in and having a little faith in the B team, Scooter and I, and thanks for all your interaction with us. So it was a good time.
Yeah, as always, we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, /X. Let us know. If you got a comment to get to, we're going to make our college picks, our NFL picks in our upcoming segments. We'll start by talking about East Carolina and UTSA. UTSA is an 18.5-point favorite. We'll get a little bit into this matchup. But, Joe, you were at the press conferences last night. We talked to Mike Houston, Donnie Kirkpatrick, Blake Harrell. I was not able to make it live. I did go back and watch it. Several things kind of stood out to me. Just anything on your end being there that, kind of really stood out from last night's availability with the coaches and coordinators?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing because many people talk about it, but you often don't ask the coordinator unless things have gone awry. And that was whether or not they felt an accountability between the two of them to kind of apologize or say that's on me or why didn't you pick up the pace? And they were both stood there in unison and basically were like, no, we have everybody's back. Like there's no kind of panic in the program. Nobody's pointing fingers. And that was a really good thing to hear. A lot of times when you get into these kind of situations early in the year or late in the year and people aren't doing what you were expecting them to do, there's a lot of finger pointing or what we'd call burning down the village. And there's nothing of that. And Coach Houston stood there and was like, we have a great game plan. We're the same team we have been. There's no difference. There's no kind of rapid expansion to try and be a team we're not going to be. And Harrell spoke well about how sometimes offenses bailed defense out in certain situations and vice versa over years past. So that was really good to hear. Harrell's also very into the fact that there's going to be a lot of tempo and there could be a chance to kind of fight to keep some personnel packages that are on the field, off of the field, and do all those different things. So he's prepared in a different way than he did last week because they are expecting one quarterback that's the seventh-year guy, Frank Harris, which, first off, it's an incredible thing to even have to say is 7 years. What's more wild about it is 7 years at the same school, and that's really what kind of separates him is he has such an understanding of what UTSA does, and we'll get into that a little more later. There aren't many things you can throw at him, so Harrell was kind of like, yeah, you can't really throw the book at this guy. You just kind of have to play him straight up, and I think that's going to be a very different thing from what ECU's done in past weeks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how ECU tries to handle their RPO game. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. I thought it was interesting. Donnie Kirkpatrick, talked a lot about the sign stealing stuff with Michigan. He was asked about it directly and basically said going back to the summer that they had heard Michigan was kind of in that game. And, of course, that's become a bit of a national story. They're going to other, they had a coach or some unaffiliated with the program go to other venues ahead of the game against Michigan to watch, which is illegal. Obviously, sign stealing, sign watching in-game or off the TV copy is something that's been going on in college football a long time. Not really against the rules there, but what Michigan was doing is against the rules. Also thought it was interesting that he basically said SMU is a professional sign-stealing bunch because that is he didn't come out and say it, but he said the one game we huddled, we did that because that team is kind of known. I forget the exact phrase he used, but known as sign stealers. Well, SMU is the one game ECU huddled. And I'm not using this as an excuse for why ECU struggled offensively, Joe, but I just thought that comment was interesting.
It's definitely interesting because when you look at it and you think about it, yeah, that's the only time ECU's huddled, but every single year we've played SMU has been an absolute barn burner of offensive production and offensive fights, whether it was Sonny Dykes was the head coach or the guy before him. And then those types of games are always what you go back and you look at and you think, okay, maybe there was a little more to this than we thought about. And last year with UCF, people tried to say that we were stealing signs and that there was a whole playbook that went missing and whatnot. I mean, it's part of the game. And Peyton Manning actually used to talk about it, and he talked about it recently on the Manningcast, is whatever phrase he would use that showed up in the TV copy, it was gone the next week because that's how deep you're looking to try and get that advantage on an opponent. And what Michigan is accused of doing is disgusting and bad for the game. I mean, if you go there and you're live, you can pick some things up and you can read, hey, if this hand is down or this guy's in this stance, they're going to this or going to that. That's part of it. It's tips and tricks. It's tendencies. That's fine. But when you record it and you're having people kind of pre-scout for you and you do those things not based on the game, but actually based on who's calling it, it's disgusting and there's no place for it in the game. And I thought it was interesting. Matt Rule actually brought up the mics in the headsets and the helmets and how that's how it came to be in the NFL is because it was originally based on the sign stealing they used to do. So I think it's definitely, and Coach K also pointed out this, I think it's coming, but I don't think it's going to be the implementation we think it's going to be as early as we're hoping. I think it's going to take a couple years for them to kind of prove what the difference would be.
College sports, and especially college football, always seems to take a little longer to adjust as opposed to the NFL. But a lot of times they will implement, what the NFL does. It's just a few years after or several years after. So I agree. It'll happen eventually. We'll see when. All right, ECU, UTSA. Let's go around the round table. Let's kind of discuss how we're feeling about this game. I'll be honest, guys. Look, I mean, it's our job to talk about the next game on the schedule, but this is the least optimistic of any game to this point. Even when the schedule originally came out, I was like, this is the one probably definite loss that I see. And UTSA hasn't been maybe as elite as I thought they'd be. I picked them as a preseason favorite. But ever since Frank Harris got back and is getting more healthy from his turf toe injury, they have been scoring at will. Their defense up front is very good, which is a major concern for me, given ECU's problems offensively up front. So I just don't like how this game looks on paper. It's an inexperienced team on ECU's end versus an experienced team on UTSA's end. They rarely lose at home. I just think this is going to be a tough challenge. So my vibe is really low for this game, and maybe I'll be wrong, but we'll go around the room. Let's start with Joe.
What you brought up is definitely something to consider, and that's going to be the inexperience versus, I mean, most of these UTSA guys have been there for 5-6 years. And that's a very rare thing in today's college football landscape is that they all stayed. They built the culture. They left 2 head coaches before Jeff Traylor, and they just stuck it out and stood there and were like, this is UTSA. This is what we're building, and this is a team that's gone bowling, I think, 3 of the last 4 years, and the only one that didn't might have been the COVID year because I think they didn't wind up accepting an invitation. And when you look at that and you look at Frank Harris and you look at their running backs and you look at their big receiver and then you look at the linebackers and their defensive front, you do get nervous and you get concerned. But also this is one of those games, and I'm not being a homer here, that East Carolina usually is counted out in, and they find a way to play a tight ball game, and it winds up being a 31-28 type game, and they covered the spread, and we sit here and we talk about what ECU did right, but UTSA's experience, so that's why they pulled it away. But this is one of those games where, like, I'm leaning towards it's going to be a lot closer than we anticipate. This is one of those games that you kind of circle on the calendar to prove everybody wrong, and ECU's had a lot of things go wrong this season that they need to kind of correct and try and prove against people to, I guess, set the tone correctly for next season. And you don't want to say you're looking ahead to next season yet, but as fans and as talking heads, so to speak, we can do that. So I think this is the start of how you set the tone for next season.
Philip, how you feeling?
Yeah, it's kind of they've fit the mold, I would say, of a AAC team where they score a lot of points. They don't defend real well. I think they're like mid-60s in the country in scoring defense. Which, in the past, you like ECU in those type of games. That does not fit the style of ECU right now. And unfortunately, when you have two teams that are different styles and the fact that we stand better chances in low-scoring games, they stand better chances in high-scoring games, it usually goes to the team that's better as to what kind of game gets played. Well, ECU's going to have to score to win this game, and, it's going to be tough to defend Frank Harris. I don't think that, the defense is going to go out there and let up 40 points. I trust Blake Harrell, and I trust, the guys that he puts on the field as well as his staff. But when you look, this offense is explosive. Frank Harris can do it in a lot of ways. They mentioned it. This kid graduated high school in 2017. This kid is my age, and he's playing college quarterback. Coach Mike Houston talked about it on Tuesday when he just talked about how, there's no substitute for experience. And he has seen more reps than maybe any quarterback in the country. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's a smart kid. And just due to all those reasons, I'm kind of like you, Igo. It's like this game doesn't really intrigue me because I hate to say that we don't stand a chance, but kind of feels that way.
UTSA is an 18.5-point favorite for a reason. We'll make our game picks here shortly. There are some potential areas that ECU can exploit. If you look at Pro Football Focus, guys, UTSA – ranks 126 out of 133 teams in special teams grades. So they have struggled overall on special teams. ECU has been inconsistent, but in a game like this, you're probably going to need something on special teams to kind of overcome part of the issue. In coverage, defensive coverage, as far as guys, obviously covering people seems pretty self-explanatory, but, playing tight zone coverage, man coverage, etc. UTSA, according to Pro Football Focus, ranks 131st out of 133 teams in college football. So they give up passing plays. Now, they are very good. Somehow they're very good at pressuring the quarterback and stopping the run, but they're very bad in coverage. So they've had some bust on the back end. You hope, if you're ECU, that continues. Their offensive line is also pretty weak. They grade out pretty poorly in pass pro and in run blocking, similarly to ECU, but the difference is they've got such a good quarterback in Frank Harris that he is so smart he can overcome a lot of that with his decision-making and getting rid of the ball quickly. So, Joe, when you hear all that, does that make you feel a little bit better maybe about ECU hanging around in this game?
Yeah, it definitely does. And we've looked at how ECU's kind of been overmatched, and we'll use overmatched as a relative term with what Michigan was doing defensively and offensively and how Marshall's big offensive line was going to handle it and what App State was able to do. And these were all games that were a lot closer than the score indicates, and that's going to be what it's going to be for this weekend. If you can keep UTSA into a tight game in the fourth quarter, can you pull it away? And I think, obviously, if you do include where that Harris experience is going to come in, it's going to be the fourth quarter. It's going to be those late game situations where you can't turn it over. You have to get this first down, and that's where he's going to kind of win the game for them and pull them out of that hole. But I think this game's going to be a lot closer than what people are envisioning. And I know I've sat up here and I've said some things that people are like, well, he's just being a homer. But I picked against him last week. I thought it was going to be a tight one. I thought Charlotte was going to be one of those things. And, yeah, I picked ECU to win, but I knew it would be close. So I say the same thing this weekend because I think this is one of those years where UTSA is a lot better than their record kind of indicates, but ECU's record isn't really showing the kind of football they play for three quarters. So if you can keep them into a tight game going into the fourth, it can be a very different ball game than what people are thinking.
He is Joe Sampson. I'm Stephen Igo, Philip Pilkington producing. Let's get our first break in. We will come back. We'll make our college picks, including ECU. UTSA. Also want to share how great we did across the board on picks last week. We are surging in the right direction as a collective unit. We also got to get our Anson belt and buckle locks of the weekend, as we usually do that on Friday, but we'll do that on today's show. So stay with us. We'll be right back on a Thursday edition of Hoist the Colors.
2024s are moving in, which means 2023s are moving out. It's the model year-end move-out at Greenville Toyota. Shop new RAV4s, $289 a month. Even save on the all-new Camry, also $289 a month. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
At GoEco, we don't just supply the office space. We create solutions for any environment. Our state-of-the-art commercial-grade video display is perfect for watching film with the team. From film study to the field, elevate your game with GoEco.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
The 2024s are here and the 2023s need to move. It's the model year-end move-out at Greenville Toyota. Move in on new Tacomas just $299 a month. Plus, get the Greenville Advantage at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
What's happening?
Tell me what's happening. Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back into this Thursday, October 26th edition of HTC. We are doing our game picks a day early because Joe Sampson's got some stuff he's got to take care of tomorrow. So we're doing this on a Thursday. We're scheduled to be joined by Case and Romaley tomorrow. We will talk. We'll talk more basketball tomorrow. Kaysen is our basketball insider on Hoist the Colors, so we'll do that. We're trying to connect with Mark Yellock as well, so we'll get him on, if possible, on Friday's show. I am playing sick, as you can tell by my voice, but I'm trying my best. And, boys, it is our picks segment. Joe, you texted me during the break, are you rambling enough? You're doing great, man, so just keep it up. Ramble all you want. Keep it up. You're doing great. I think, by the way, we're experts, guys. I just want to let y'all know we are finally experts. We each went above 500 last week against the spread. 6-4 for me, 6-4 for Joe. This is between college and NFL. 8-2 for Phillip as he just continues to dominate. We went a combined 20-10 against the spread, guys. We've made it. What do y'all think?
There we go. That's what we needed. It's not about how you start, fellas. It's about how you finish.
I agree, but we're midway through the season. I don't want to get too confident, and especially after an 8-2 week, I got to stay humble. Got to keep it going. Got to believe in my teams.
We are who they thought they were,
and still got to finish strong, baby. We're only halfway through, so long way to go.
Philip, I feel like you're just trying not to jinx yourself because you have led this thing basically from start to now. You're 43, 34-4 against the spread overall this year. I'm 38, 39-4. Joe, 34, 43-4. But he's done very well. Interestingly enough, he was our pro guy until this past week. Then he went 5-0 in college, 1-4 in the NFL. So I don't know what you are, Joe.
I went back to school. That's what happened.
Okay. Either way, we're all trending the right direction. So, Philip, this is yours to lose, man. I feel like you're just trying not to blow it at this point.
Yeah, that's all it is. You've got to where's my camera here? Yeah, you just got to not jinx yourself. Like you said, that's what I'm trying to do, is not jinx myself. And it's definitely mine to lose at this point. And that's kind of why I always go last in the segments. Now I might just start picking what you guys pick and trying to –
And hedging it?
Yeah, hedging my bets. Now that I said that, Igo's going to probably make me go first. But, hey, it is what it is.
Hey, my head coach used to say in high school – my head coach in high school used to say, Philip, last man in line ain't hungry enough to eat.
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
There you go. Sometimes you got to get to the front.
You do.
Yeah, we usually let Philip go last. Is that a strategic decision that's paying off for him? Do we need to rethink things?
Might be. Might have to go to the bulletin board on this one.
All right, boys, let's get into our picks. This week, we usually do 5 and 5. For some reason, I wrote down 6, so I just said, we'll just go with it. We'll pick 6 college games. We'll pick 5 NFL games. This segment will be college. Oklahoma is at Kansas. I think this is a 12 noon kickoff. And I'm just going to say it, guys. Oklahoma is due for a loss. I think it happens this week. I think Kansas definitely covers the 10. And I think they might win outright. So give me the Jayhawks. I don't think their quarterback's coming back. But I just have a feeling Lance Leipold, I don't even know how to say his name, but I feel like he's going to get this done. He's a great coach, and I'm going Kansas. Joe.
I agree, and it's not often I would pick against a big favorite like Oklahoma, but we have to look at what happened last weekend. And Oklahoma almost lost it real quick against UCF in what would have been their first Big 12 victory. So I don't know if Oklahoma is what we think they are, and I think Kansas is a lot better than people want to give them credit for. So I take the Jayhawks at home as well. I would also lean outright. I really don't think it's going to be one of those things where it comes down to that last-second cover. I think the Jayhawks are in control for a long time.
I think this might be one of those where Vegas is trying to bait you guys into taking the Jayhawks. And I think they're going to win some money on you guys. I think Oklahoma, I think they kind of get it figured out a few weeks ago in the Red River, whatever we're supposed to call it now, showdown. I guess we're not supposed to call it shootout anymore. I thought we weren't supposed to call it that anymore. I don't even know what the hell that is.
I don't know anymore.
But anyways, I think they kind of get it figured out then. Yeah, last week was rough, but, UCF is still hungry. They've been hanging in every game. They just unfortunately haven't been able to come out on top. So I'm going to go with Boomer Sooner.
I did see UCF and the Fighting Gyro Wilsons. They are a 7-point favorite against West Virginia, despite being 0-4 in Big 12 play. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens there. We're not picking that game. I just thought it was interesting. All right, Georgia against Florida. Are we allowed to call this still the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, or is that?
I think that's still appropriate. Well? That's what I would have called it.
That's what we're calling it. They are meeting in Jacksonville. Georgia is a 14.5-point favorite against the Gators. The Gators are 5-2. I believe Georgia undefeated. Georgia 14.5. Let's tell you what. Let's mix it up here. Let's start with Philip.
See, I like the strategy there. I go. Let me hang on. All right. Yeah, no, I like your strategy, but Georgia is like 1-7 or some crap like that this year against the spread. They're not very good. Florida's been getting up for big games. This is such an important game to them. It's a rivalry game. I think 2 touchdowns is just a little bit too many, so I'm going to go with the Gators.
All right, Joe.
If it was 13.5, I could maybe make the case for it, but 14.5 means you either have to go for 2 on one of those touchdowns or you got to kick another field goal, which essentially makes it a 3-score game, which is almost impossible to cover. And every single time I have picked the dogs this season, I have been burned, which is why I'm taking Sunbelt Billy and the Gators to cover in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Florida coming off a bye, and I'm just looking at their schedule, guys. I'm not sold on this team at all. They did beat Tennessee, but I don't really know how good Tennessee is.
I'm not sold on Georgia.
I'm gonna go Georgia. I think Georgia romps. I think they win by 20.
I want to point out
the dogs.
We said the same thing when they played Auburn. I just want to point that out.
I think we kept picking them, and then they finally did it to Kentucky, though. At least I know I picked them against Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they finally killed Kentucky. So, but yeah, you just don't know what Georgia – I feel like Georgia's just going through the motions. It's just a matter of what Georgia shows up.
I wouldn't be surprised if they blow this one. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose, but if they're going to blow one, this would be it.
You think Billy Napier's got it in him?
Sunbelt Billy, baby.
Probably not, but, we're not talking about Florida coming out there and stealing it. We're talking about Georgia blowing it. Total different conversation.
Georgia also coming off a bye, so both teams off a bye. Give me the dogs. All right, next game is East Carolina. The Pirates are going to San Antonio. They're going to take on UTSA. They're an 18.5-point favorite. I kind of am with you, Joe. I feel like this game is going to be close for a lot of the game. The problem is I feel like eventually, just like the last few games, it's going to get away from ECU in the latter stages because they can't score enough points. And I think UTSA pulls away at the end. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's like 17-14, and then all of a sudden the fourth quarter happens and it's like 34-17 or 34-14. So I think UTSA covers the 18.5. I just don't think ECU can score enough points right now. And I think UTSA finds a way to cover. Joe?
Those are very good points. And I would believe it if we didn't have Blake Harrell calling the ECU defense and limiting every possible offensive team to what they need to do. He held the number 2 team in the nation, stealing signals or not, to 30 points, and 14 of them were at halftime. This is not a defense that goes through the motions and doesn't show up. This is a defense that causes chaos, creates turnovers, is going to force Frank Harris to do something stupid we haven't seen him do in several years, another dumb mistake because he saw ghosts. I think it's one of those games where it really is a lot closer than we think it is. I don't like 18.5 at all, which is why I'm taking the fighting Donnie Kirkpatricks for the East Carolina Pirates. And that's where I think the difference is going to be, Igo. I think it's going to be that the offense wakes up and finds a way to match the production of what the other teams are going to do.
Philip.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Joe on this one. It seems like, and Joe and I were kind of talking about during the break, that this team has really played to their competition this year, and that's been unfortunate when they've played, Charlotte and whatever other crap team we lost to. Was it Rice? But
Rice, SMU.
Yeah. No, I'm still in the SMU. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with SMU. I was doing it at the beginning of the year. I still am. But, we kind of talked about it. They really did play well against App for 3 quarters. They played well against Marshall for 3 quarters. Michigan's probably the most complete game they've played all year, and I think they do just enough to hang around. I think it's one of those, 28-17 type games where it's one of those where you actually feel like you might pull off the upset and they deliver a dagger at the last second. So I do think we lose, but I am picking the Pirates to cover.
All right. Joe was talking, and his screen went to black, which is not a good sign for the Pirates, as he was making the argument for ECU to cover. Oregon is a 6.5-point favorite going to Utah, and I believe Cam Rising is basically going to miss the year. That's been finalized at this point?
Yeah, finalists came out and said it.
Okay, so Utah is Utah. They don't give up a lot of points. Oregon scores a lot of points. Let's start with Philip here. Let's go back reverse order. This should be a good game. Oregon is a 6.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, this one's weird. The Pac-12 is so tough to pick. I think it's the conference that we've all really struggled with the most this year. But Utah's been doing it for a while without Cam Rising now. I like them at home. I know it's probably a dumb pick, but I'm going to go with the Utes. That place is rocking. And we saw they played Florida the first game of the season. It was a weeknight game, and I think it was like a 7 o'clock kick for us, so it was a 5 o'clock kick for them. And that place was packed. They were going nuts. And they've been a good football team at home. Like you said, that defense is going to stun Oregon a little bit early, and I think it's going to allow them to at least cover in this one.
Joseph.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe game day is also in Utah, which is its own circus to follow, and you play off that energy when you do it, because there's only 3 things out in Utah. I go soda, mountains, and football, which is why I take Utah. I don't think Oregon can go into hostile territory and take care of business. We've yet to see them play a complete game on the road, and I think we see another kind of game this week where they fall apart in the fourth. They could squeak out a 3-point win, but I don't like the spread for them. Give me the Utes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Even if Utah doesn't win, I see this being a close game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take 6.5 all day. I'm going Utah, and I feel pretty good about it. Road Bo Nix, we know he's inconsistent, so I'm going Utah. We're all on the Utes. All right, Duke is at Louisville. Louisville is a 4-point favorite in an unlikely top 25 matchup. Riley Leonard, let's go to our Duke expert, Philip Pilkington. What is the latest on Riley Leonard? Is he hurt? Like, he played last week, but he didn't look to be 100%. So what's the latest there?
Well, he played last week, and then he re-injured that same ankle. And when he did, the Duke offense just fell apart. That's what allowed Florida State to cover. I think had he stayed healthy in that game, Duke still would have lost the football game, but they definitely would have covered. And I'm not 100% sure about Riley Leonard. If he does play, he's not going to be 100%, and he played decent, but he's such a mobile quarterback, and I think that Duke is a 21st century football team. And what I mean by that is they live and die by the production of their quarterback. They not that it's not a good roster, 1 to 105 or how many ever guys are on the team, but when the quarterback isn't playing well, they haven't played well. They've picked him up in a few games, but he's at least been healthy in those games that they've had to pick him up in. And he's not going to be 100% for this game. I think Louisville wins it outright. I think it's close. But I got Louisville by like a touchdown, maybe 10 points, so I'm going to get the Cardinals to cover in this one.
Joe, what do you think?
I think the same thing. And when I say that, it's difficult to try and put it into words how much Riley Leonard means for the Blue Devils. But the Cardinals play well, and they play well often this year. And we saw what they did to Notre Dame. They took an offense that looked like it was unstoppable the 2 weeks before they went into Louisville and just was stifled. I mean, Hartman threw, I think, 2 interceptions. It was a fumble, just bad ball. And when you can do that and force those opponents into getting the sets they don't want to do or the things that weren't in their game plan, you win before you can even step on the field. So the Louisville home field advantage kicks off. I take the fighting Jack Harlow's. I don't think it's close. I take Louisville outright and with the spread.
Louisville off a bye and off a loss. They lost to Pittsburgh, their first of the year, so I think they come back motivated. I think, too, with the Riley Leonard injury, Duke, not the same team, so Louisville at home. I'm going Cardinals. Clemson is at NC State. Clemson has 3 losses already, guys. They are still a 10-point favorite at NC State. This game, we shouldn't have picked this game. This was my mistake.
Yeah,
I was about to say, why are we doing this? Both these teams are so bad.
There, moving on.
Yeah. I don't even know what to do.
Should we just cancel this game and not pick it?
We did have 6.
Yeah, we did have 6. So
there we go.
It's up to you. It's your call, but yeah.
This is your show.
Trust me, because when I looked at it, I was like, really, do I have to pick this game? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody knows
this game.
They both suck.
I wish I could pick against both of them.
Yeah, I think they both lose by 40. You heard it here first.
There.
Anson Belt and Buckle lock of the week.
First ever
they
double
both
loss.
Lose by 40.
We are canceling this game.
The refs win.
It's my mistake, guys. The Clemson LSU game, Clemson NC State game, if you want to watch it, enjoy that. Let's instead answer this question from John Moody before our break. There's always that one team every year that starts 1-5, he says, and finishes 6-6. They're usually from some conference like the MAC, but why not us? Why not ECU, Joe?
Hey, I'd be the first one to tell you why ECU. This is a team that's only kind of putting together better performances, and I know the offense is what people are going to raise pitchforks for and try and burn down the gate, but the defense keeps you in games, and if you can find a way to stop them for 10 points and win with 13, it doesn't matter how many wins you have at the end of the season by 3 points. It matters how many wins you have, and there's no reason they can't do that, especially with the schedule coming up.
All right. So the Pirates are going to finish 6-6. You heard it here first. I tell you what, if they beat UTSA on the road, I mean, at that point,
you got momentum.
They could beat anybody on the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Tulane's going to be a beast, but you can win that game at home. So, I'm not counting on it, but never say never.
It's not impossible.
If they can find a way to score points, if they find a way to score points, they can do it. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll pick NFL games. We'll continue to laugh at NC State and Clemson because we can only laugh at teams this year and laugh with them because ECU is struggling as well. But we'll continue that conversation on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. We'll be right back.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Hey, grab me one too.
R&D Brewing is proud to partner with the ECU Pirates, and now you can enjoy Pirates Brew, the official craft beer of ECU Athletics. Pirates Brew is a carefully curated light beer that embodies the spirit of ECU, a refreshing and easy drinking light beer. Pirates Brew by R&D Brewing is available now at grocery stores, local retailers, and at ECU athletic events.
Head over to your favorite store and enjoy a nice Pirates Brew today, or else you'll walk the plank. Hand me another Pirates Brew. Arr.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back into this Thursday, October 26th edition of Hoist the Colors. It is good to be back and looking forward to making some more picks here shortly. We just made our college picks. We're now going to make our NFL picks here in a second. We first got it. As I see, I tell you what, we see Joe Sampson. He's got on his New York Jets attire, the bucket hat, the sunglasses, all gas, no break. Jets coming off a bye, Joe. You got to be amped up, right?
I'm fired up. I mean, if there was a way for me to have picked the Jets on the bye week, I would have. And guess what? They won the bye week, which isn't something you can often do, Igo. The Dolphins lose. The Bills lose. The Patriots find a way to make the Bills look worse than we did. The Jets won the bye week, and the Jets have continued to do things to put themselves in a position to run the table.
I tell you what, your energy goes up 1,000,000 degrees when you put on that attire.
Yeah, I think this is good, huh?
But he might bang his head into a wall again. It wouldn't surprise me.
Fired up.
Just don't break any of our walls.
Anything
I don't want
for
Henry
Garrett
mad at me. I don't want me to have to him to land in Raleigh, come back from New York to a text, Joe broke our walls.
We got a few comments, guys, on YouTube we'll get to before NFL picks. John, we were talking about, hey, can ECU be the team that goes from 1-6 to 6-6? John says pull off the upset at UTSA, play up to a ranked Tulane team and win at FAU, grind out a 16-13 win at Navy, and then come home to grab the 6th win versus Tulsa, who will have a losing record. John, I love the optimism, man. I would love nothing more than for that to happen because right now, as the team's beat writer, I am struggling to write stuff because it's the same story all year. So I could use some wins. The fans could use some wins. We'll see what happens Saturday. I'm not as optimistic, but hey, there's a path. ECU is still mathematically alive. I love the optimism. John Decker, golf instruction, also says he just listened to Donnie Kirkpatrick's press conference. Has anyone asked Houston or DK about Jeter? I would love to see him get some experience. Mike Houston was asked Tuesday about Raheem Jeter and said basically that they do intend to play him more at some point. I don't know when or how. But your thoughts there, Joe, before we get into our picks. I think we'll see him some down the stretch. I don't know if now is the right time, but I think eventually.
We've talked about it some, and the thing with that is if you go back and you watch him for what he did in against Gardner-Webb, it was last year, and what he was able to do and how he kind of settled in, it's a very different thing than what you've kind of expected out of a guy like him who's so dynamic as an athlete. He was just kind of handing the ball off, playing point guard more than trying to make plays. And I think if you get to the point where you lose this week and next week you're looking at just 4 straight games of trying to find out what you have, you go to Jeter a lot more than you would anticipate. Because at the end of the day, you need to know what you have with him because you didn't know what you had with Flynn and Garcia. Garcia had 1 start prior to this. Flynn had never thrown a college pass prior to the season. That's what you need to do. So I think it's a God forbid scenario, obviously. You hope the Pirates can pull it out. You hope we go on this miraculous run and Mike Houston looks at me in the presser before the bowl game and tells me to go fly a kite because I'm looking forward to it, Mike. The difference is if you lose this week, you have to see what you have for the future. And I think that's what he was trying to allude to without saying it.
Good thoughts there. All right, let's get into our NFL picks. The New York Jets are taking on the Giants at MetLife Stadium. I guess the Giants get to claim the home team here, Joe. What is the situation with this?
I think it's difficult to look at. Anytime you share a stadium like that, we've seen it with the Chargers and the Rams. Always one team seems to claim it's their home stadium, the other's using it. But what I do need to remind people is this is the house that Zach Wilson built. I mean, there aren't many times that you stand up here and you get on the table and you fight for somebody who people have hated. This is one of those times. Zach Wilson has outplayed Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones can't outplay Daniel Jones right now. Tyrod Taylor looks like he's back in the retirement home the way he's kind of been playing football. You barely squeak one out against the Commanders, who have the most hit quarterback through this many games ever in NFL history. Ever. And you try and sit here and say this is a Giants home game? No, this is Jets faithful showing up. We saw how excited they were in the preseason when Aaron Rodgers threw 1 pass to Garrett Wilson for a touchdown in a game that didn't matter. Imagine now when you have a chance to go above 500 and put yourself in the driver's seat to win the division. This is a Jets home game the whole way. I don't care what color we're wearing. I don't care who's got the end zones painted. This is Jets territory, which is why it's the Jets by more than 7, which is why it's my Anson Belt and Buckle lock of the week. The Jets by 7 against the Giants. I don't have to hesitate when I say it.
The spread is Jets by 3, and I think Joe is on record with a Jets prediction. By the way, how can it be that the house Zach Wilson built when MetLife Stadium was built in 2010 and
Hey, man.
Zach Wilson was drafted like a year ago?
Because sometimes you have to pass on ownership through the deed. It isn't about who built it. It's about who brought it to what it is. And that's what you need to remember, Igo. Because if you want to sit here and go, oh, yeah, it's the house that Eli Manning built. Eli Manning wasn't Eli Manning for the last years he was in MetLife. He didn't look like Eli Manning. He looked like some kind of combination between Sasquatch and Peyton Manning running back there and just delivering passes to the sideline. So I stand by what I said.
Fair enough. Joe, on the Jets, I guess I'm riding with the Jets too. I mean, this is not – I'll be honest, Joe, this is probably a game that I have zero interest in watching because the Giants are despicable, and as much as I respect the Jets, with Zach Wilson at quarterback, they're tough to watch. But I think they find a way to win by more than 3. The Giants are just a weird team, though, man. Like, every time I think they're done, they find a way to win a game like this, so that kind of scares me. Philip, what do you think?
I think that Joe will not be wearing his get-up next week because I have an upset pick here. I'm going Giants. Yeah, they looked bad last week, but I think they're still a good football team. I think they got it figured out, and I think they're going to beat a Jets team who is not as good as them, 1-53 on the roster.
All right, so Phil is on the Giants in the New York rivalry. All right, Jaguars are at the Steelers. Guys, how the heck are the Steelers 4-2? I mean, this team is not even good, and yet they keep finding ways to win. I feel like I picked the Steelers a lot this year, and they keep letting me down, but yet they're 4-2, so it doesn't make any sense. The Jags have had a good season. They're 2.5-point favorites at Pittsburgh. We'll start with Philip. What do you think?
We got to go quick here. We're running low on time. I'm going Jags. I think they're a much superior team. I like what this offense is doing. It's dynamic. They got a lot of weapons. Give me the Jags.
Joe?
Give me the fence. I think Kenny Pickett is playing a lot better than we thought he was going into this year. Mike Tomlin still finds a way to be competitive no matter what the roster is, and T.J. Watt exists. Give me the Steelers.
I'm going Jaguars on the road. I just think they're the better team, and I think the Steelers are going to be exposed. The Texans are at the Panthers. This is the Panthers' chance to get a win. The Texans are a 3-point favorite. It's C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys, this is my Anson Belt and Buckle lock of the week. Lock it in. Panthers get their first win outright. Carolina. Joe.
Well,
go ahead, Philip. Tell him.
I'm glad that we agree on our Anson Belt and Buckle lock of the week.
Go.
The reason is Musa Muhammad and Julius Peppers are going into the Ring of Honor at halftime. The Panthers are going to be playing for them. Everybody is going to keep pounding from kickoff till the final whistle. Panthers Nation, baby. We're getting a win. Give me the Panthers.
Joe, take us home.
C.J. Stroud teaches you he should have been the first pick. I stood on the table and I said he should have. And this is one of those games, and me and Philip were talking about it. Either you lose by 40 or you win by 10. There's no in between when you play with this kind of emotion, which is why I think it gets to be too much to this young, inexperienced team. Frank Reich doesn't know how to handle it. DeMeco Ryans exposes him. Give me the Texans.
By the way, Anson Belt and Buckle Lock of the Week is presented by them. Are you game day ready? Visit ansonbelt.com/ECU. Check out their great collection of holeless belts, including ECU officially licensed belts, Anson Belt and Buckle, the official belt of ECU athletics. All right, 2 more games to pick quickly, guys. The Chiefs are at the Broncos. These 2 teams just played, and now they're playing again. Kansas City is a 7-point favorite. They've won like 75 in a row in this series. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going Broncos to cover. And I honestly have a feeling they might win this game. I mean, eventually you gotta get lucky. So I'm going Denver. Joe.
You brought up that they just played each other, and I think that's going to come back to bite you because, yes, the Chiefs have played lesser competition, I guess is the best way to put it, since that run-in, but they're only getting better, and their offense is starting to click. Travis Kelce had 129 yards on 12 catches, and that wasn't including what they were able to do in the run game with Pacheco. I'd take the Chiefs. I'm sorry, this has to be against the Constitution to just keep cruel and unusual punishment for you at this point, but it's going to be the Chiefs again.
Phil.
Give me Taylor's boyfriend and the Chiefs.
Fighting Taylor's boyfriends.
I really hope Taylor Swift is in Mile High so she can witness the loss of her beloved Travis Kelce.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but I
Bengals.
was looking at the camera a second ago and forgot to type in who you guys picked for Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. Who'd you guys pick?
I have the fence. I have the Steelers.
Okay.
Jaguars.
That's what I thought. Wanted to be sure. Thanks.
All right, Bengals at Niners. Final game. Niners are a 3.5-point favorite. Sounds like Debo could miss some more time. And Brock Purdy didn't practice due to concussion, so I don't know what his status is going to be. The Bengals are a weird team. The Niners are a 3.5-point favorite at home. I don't really have a good feel for this game, but I'm just going to pick the Niners because I feel like they're due to bounce back after 2 losses in a row. Joe.
You're also forgetting who's starting at quarterback for the Niners, mononucleosis legend Sam Darnold is starting for the 49ers. I give it to the Niners as well. I don't think the Bengals are able to kind of capitalize on the mistakes that the Niners have been making like other teams have. I think it's going to be one of those that just pull away and stay in the driver's seat the whole time. Give me the Niners.
I'm gonna make it 3 in a row. I do not think they lose 3 in a row, so I'm gonna make it 3 straight Niners picks. Give me San Francisco.
All right, there you go. There's our picks for Week 8 in the NFL and Week 9 in college football. Let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll have closing thoughts, wrap up the show. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. Stacking paper like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into. And I ain't break a sweat. Let's get it, 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 let's get it. Child, please, I don't need a dog.
Are you game day ready? Anson Belt, the official belt of ECU Athletics.
Are you ready for a digital hair color revolution? The Color Master Factory by Chi and LG. A masterpiece of innovation, unlimited color formulations, limitless possibilities. Long-lasting color. Chi.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. A few minutes left on this edition of the show. Appreciate Joe Sampson, Philip Pilkington today. And guys, we don't have much time left. Today we sit here, we're 10 days away from East Carolina basketball starting. And my question to you both is, will you be in Minges Coliseum for the season opener on Monday, November 6th against Ferrum College. Will you be there?
One of us has to be back here producing the game.
For my director of sports.
Yeah, we got to figure out who's producing the game. The other two, between Joe, myself, and Dom, I would say two of us will be there and one of us will be hanging out back here. So
somebody from Hoist the Colors will be in attendance. That's what that means.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're both trying to find a way out.
No, we're trying to talk.
We're trying to find a way to
sitting
get
over
in.
here in the corner into.
We need somebody else to take over so we can go.
Fair enough.
So we can all stand
Dom
shirtless.
has been producing every football game. Dom needs to go to some sporting event. Poor guy's been producing.
Philip,
everything.
all three of us shirtless, HTC painted on our chests in the Minji's Maniac student section.
I think Grady will take our media passes away for that. But okay, that's what you want to do.
Immediately.
Hey, at least we would get better seats.
This is true.
If we go shirtless and sit in the student section, we'll have a better view of the court as opposed to the top of section 213. I mean, that is the true crow's nest up there, the media perch in the corner. But I'm excited for hoops, excited for football. Joey, one big key. How can ECU win this game Saturday, turn their season around?
You got to stop Frank Harris from getting outside the pocket. Keep him in, force him to make contested passes, and you'll win.
There you go. Words of wisdom from Joey and his pen. I tell you what, I feel a lot smarter when I put
I'm
this
telling
pen
you,
right
that you
in front of
just
the camera.
feel
I mean,
good.
It's just like right there. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Joey. Thanks, Philip. Thanks for the comments as well. We made it through the hour. As painful as it was for my throat, I made it. Try to be back tomorrow as well. We'll have Case and Romali from Hoist the Colors. We'll talk a lot of hoops as we close in on tip-off and get you ready for that. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon. Hoist the Colors. Thanks for being along with us.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 943 The Game.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
Call AA Hauling 252-946-1227 or AAHauling.com.
R&D Brewing is proud to partner with the ECU Pirates, and now you can enjoy Pirates Brew, the official craft beer of ECU Athletics. Pirates Brew is a carefully curated light beer that embodies the spirit of ECU, a refreshing and easy drinking light beer. Pirates Brew by R&D Brewing is available now at grocery stores, local retailers, and at ECU athletic events.
Head over to your favorite store and enjoy a nice Pirates Brew today, or else you'll walk the plank. Hand me another Pirates Brew.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Hey Pirate Nation, I'm head men's basketball coach Mike Schwartz.
And I'm Kim McNeil, head coach of your defending American Athletic Conference champion women's basketball team.
Basketball season is just around the corner and we're looking forward to another exciting season on the hardwood.
We need Pirate Nation to Pat Minji's Coliseum by purchasing your season tickets today.
Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or visit ECUPirates.com to get yours now.
Thanks and go Pirates.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
Call AA Hauling 252-946-1227 or AAHauling.com.
big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
I'm a big mood. You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. Stacking paper like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into, and I won't break a sweat. Let's get it, 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 let's get it. Child, please, I don't need a towel.
Are you game day ready? Anson Belt, the official belt of ECU Athletics.